And it's not, I don't mean to make light, but I understand that for people like you and me who sort of thrive in the public eye, that's
Mhm.
a skill, that's a personality trait. And I
Yeah.
understand that not everyone has that. For some people, the idea of like standing up at a school board meeting and speaking is terrifying. And
True.
so I don't want to like shame anybody for not taking this, like, you don't have to have a show, you don't have to have a
Right.
podcast, you don't have to go out and scream, but maybe you do show up at that meeting and just be one of the numbers that is supporting, the strength of numbers.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do speak to your boss about this thing at work that you didn't like, that you didn't appreciate, that you're not allowed to go in there with your MAGA hat. So why is this person allowed to run around screaming about politics all day?
Right.
Be that person. I know that there are a lot of parents out there, like this trans issue is huge for our kids right now. It's so huge.
Girl.
This is it's such a spiritual level battle. It's so huge, but we need, I particularly think, especially men, to be standing up and showing up at these sports events or showing up to the coach's office and saying, no, this boy's not going to be on my daughter. It shouldn't be the moms doing that. It should be the dads. These boys are not going to show up on my daughter's soccer team. And a
Right.
lot of you parents out there will proudly say, "Oh, I would do anything for my kid. I would die
Mhm.
for my kid." But would you lose your job for your kid?
Hello.
Would
Hello,
you risk
caller.
your reputation for your kid?
Mm.
Would you risk being thought of poorly for your kid?
Yep.
Like, it's easy. The easiest thing in the world, I think, for a parent is to say, "I would die for my kid." That's a
Oh, yeah.
no-brainer.
Uh-huh.
But there's other thing. Well, now I'm looking at losing my income, or now, well, ask yourself what you're willing to give up.
Yep.
But,
I said,
I've had to give up in some cases, the respect of my kids over the last couple of years
mm,
to hold firm to what I know to be right for them, and to
absolutely.
push back for what I know to be right for them. And yeah, they think I'm ridiculous and this like cranky old woman, cranky old
Yep.
mom, but I've had to like just withstand it. I know what I'm doing and saying is right.
That's right. My great grandparents, I had the honor and privilege to know them, and my great grandmother used to say, "You'll understand it better by and by. You might not get it right now, but you'll understand it better by and by. Just keep on living a little bit longer, and don't worry, you will get it." My oldest daughter, she was fighting me, Kira. She did not want to come out of public school,
No.
and she was like, "Oh, she just thought it was just going to be horrible." So she's in a homeschool co-op, and I was like, "You're going to like it. I promise you, you're going to like it." But she couldn't see it, which I understood, but it didn't matter because you're going to go to this homeschool co-op, because I couldn't do not one more day. I couldn't take not one
Yeah,
more time. And that's
I
in
know.
Florida. People are like, "Oh, it's right." Like,
Yeah.
no, it's, trust me, there are still crazy
Public
people here.
school is public school. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so a couple of about a week and a half ago, she texted me. She goes, "Low key, mom, my love for learning is coming back." Now that she's,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
girl, I could have cried. I could have cried. But you're right. We know what is best for our kids. And this goes back to exactly what we were talking about from the beginning. We know what is best for our kids. We birth these children. We watch them every day. They are, not saying that we can't be better, with catching things, picking up
Sure.
cues and stuff when they're going through different things. But we know our kids, and I refuse to let some stranger, from some bureaucrat office, some department of education, or I don't, wherever you come from, you have
Mhm.
no idea about who my child is, and how dare you try to tell me that I should do something that I know is not in the best interest of my own child. It is
And
disrespectful and
as
insulting.
let me take it here too. And as Black mothers,
Mm-hmm.
I am tired of being disrespected for, I'm already dealing with a whole set of circumstances in which my kids are growing up in this world where the race conversation has become really weird, and there's all these stressors, and on the one hand, they're like the oppressed, but on the other hand, their race makes them way too powerful. And I'm like having to meld all of these competing
Mm.
ideas. And then on top of it, we come from this history where if you get a little angry, you're an angry Black woman. You're
Oh,
just an angry Black mom.
oh, right.
And so I feel I'm always dealing with this dichotomy, but I live in a largely white and Asian area.
Mhm.
And I mean, I can remember one day this lady got mad at me because I honked at her at the red light, like the light turned green, and we sat there for a bit, and I just like lightly honked, and it turns out we were both going to school for pickups. And so when we got to the curb, this white lady gets out and like out of her car and comes over to me, and she's like, you should be a little more polite about, yada, yada, yada. And actually, you didn't know, but it was my daughter driving the car. She's learning to drive. I said, okay. I was just giving her a little honk, like lights green, go.
Right.
And she said, well, what you did was rude. And I was like, look, I understand, but the light was green. It was just one little honk. Like, it's really not a big deal. It's not that serious. Like, you just go on with your day. I'll go on with my day. And she goes, oh, you're one of those. And I was like, see, this is what happens. I'm trying to be nice to you. I'm trying to be polite to you. But even the fact that I got a little uppity with her made me one of those people. So
wow,
that is the thing we deal with also. Having to be seen as an angry Black woman. And I'm just an angry mom. I'm just
right. Right. I'll be that. Whatever. I'll be the angry Black mother. I will be the angry mom. I really don't care, especially when it comes to my kids. You can call me whatever name in the book that you want to call me. But I know one thing you're going to do is respect me as a mother. And you're not going to have your hands so deep into my child that they get hooked up into your system where they can't even think for themselves. So you can call me whatever you want to call me. That's fine. That I did, and it's a lot of that going on. You got that piece, and then you have the other piece. Like I was at a restaurant yesterday, and it took a minute for the waitress to come over, and so I was like, I had to grab someone. I was like, can I get some service or whatever? And she was like, oh yeah, da da da. So she brings me my drink, and then I guess the person who was supposed to have that table comes. She comes over and she's like super apologetic. Now this is a white girl, white lady. She's like super apologetic, and I'm like, okay, girl, you're throwing it on a little bit too thick. She's like, oh my gosh, I just want you to know that I'm a really good waitress, and I didn't mean. I'm like, it's all good, you're good. And like throughout the rest of my dining experience, she was just super. I'm like, now you're making me think.
Now you're making me. Now I'm feeling extra self-conscious.
Right. I'm like, it's okay. She's like,
I already
know that. I thought that was another. I thought she was going to sit you at another table, and I'm like, ma'am.
Okay, like got it. I always feel I always feel self-conscious anyway sitting down at a table because my husband was a server. Like he worked his way through college as a server. Okay. And everybody knows like Black people don't tip. So I'm always like feeling like I have to prove myself.
Right.
I'm going to tip you.
Right. We're like, you see this tip, right?
Yeah.
That's 18%. That is true. I was a waitress. I lived in New York for a little bit, and I was a waitress. I used to sing professionally, but I was waitressing and singing. And so that was the norm there too, because everybody knew Black people don't tip good.
And on a Sunday too. Ooh, the Sunday Black folks is the worst. Y'all are the worst.
It's true. People say that, I saw Jeffrey Charles, I guess I should say. There is a gentleman on Twitter. His name is Jeffrey Charles. And he got into a back and forth with, I forget the guy, but about Black culture. And there are positive things about Black culture. Sure. And there are some negative things about Black culture too. Let's just keep it all a stack. But there is a Black culture, and that was the argument about was there a Black culture and was there not. But that's one of the things in Black culture that we probably need to do better at is tipping.